What mistakes do you see women in midlife making when they enter their second marriage financially?
Love will rip your heart will rip you off. Love is overrated. Love is overrated. All to all the women out there listening, love is overrated. Unless you love yourself first. Figure out who you are, love yourself, date yourself, go on, like, explore the world, have experience by yourself, understand who you are, and then you can love someone else to the max.
What about if you're not married? Is moving in together the biggest mistake you can make financially?
If you're not married, that's not married. That's a real good question. I wouldn't.
Why is love is enough the most dangerous statement you can make?
Another great question. You on a roll today, huh?
What if I told you the most romantic decision you make in midlife could also be the riskiest one financially? Today on Midlife Mix, we welcome Alex Edwards. He's the author of Mortgage Before Marriage to talk about love, money, and why more women are starting to ask, what am I actually risking if this doesn't work out? So, welcome, Alex.
How you doing? I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy you are here. Okay, I want to talk about, you are the author of a book called Mortgage Before Marriage.
Correct.
And you say that mortgage before marriage isn't just a phase, it's a movement. So what do you mean by that?
I mean, numbers don't lie. We could just talk about single women. Right now, single women are beating single men in real estate purchases, right? And they are doing this before marriage, right? So they are now understanding financial abuse is real. And it's very important to be in a relationship that you want to be in, not a relationship that you need to be in. And so you have to create this financial foundation before I do. So God forbid it doesn't work out, you have an opportunity to leave the relationship instead of staying in a relationship you can't afford to leave. Like 20% of women, they are in relationships they can't afford to leave. So... yeah.
You've been on air and doing different shows saying that owning a home before marriage is a power move. So how does this how does it benefit women going into marriage if they already have their home in regards to the power that they hold?
All right. So let's talk about government investments, right? Government investments, you could get up to $100,000 for down payment or for closing costs, right? Now these investments go by your income. So if you say I do before I close, well, you're going to miss out on these investments because now your income is together, right? So instead of getting $100,000 for you and then your partner get $100,000, you are now getting just $100,000 only if you qualify in your income. Now, if you get married and that income is too high, you're not getting those funds at all. So I think you should rob the bank before I do. And it's simple, and it's a simple thought. It's not like I didn't create something so profound that I should be making $1 billion, right? I just looked at something and said, wait a minute, common sense. If everything's going by your income, why won't you just get the free money and then get married? Because after you get married, they can't take the money back. So it just makes sense to get all the free money from the government, from the state, and then get married.
Okay. So when you say you're getting free money, are you talking about low interest rates from bank loans for mortgages, or?
We got low interest rates, we have down payment funds, we have closing cost funds. That's what I'm talking about. So if the rate today is 6% and a special loan that goes by income, you could get 5% or 4.5. I'm going with that before I do. A mortgage is 30 years. A marriage is supposed to be a lifetime, right? So I'm going to make sure we're good in this 30 years. If we have a financial secure foundation, right, the only thing we should be focused on is the marriage, is the love. It's nothing like making love when your finances is together. nothing like it.
What is the real estate market like in Boston? Because that's where you're in Boston, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is the real estate market like there? Because I'm in Toronto, and I'll tell you, like, real estate is expensive here.
It's Massachusetts is one of the most expensive states to purchase. We call it taxatutions, right? So it's probably one of the most expensive place to live, but it's also one of the best place to purchase your first home
So what's
because you have
the
so many incentives and resources that it makes buying a home easy, right? If you're buying $1 million home, and we just say we're using an FHA product, and you have to put down 3.5%, that means you're going to give the bank $35,000, and they're going to give you $1 million. Is that expensive still? If simple terms like that, that's a no-brainer. You would never call one of your friends and say, "Hey, give me 35,000 and I'll give you $1 million." That's not happening, right?
Mhm.
So if we break it down being that simple, I think real estate is affordable if you're buying the right real estate and if of course you're working with the right team. I think when real estate's expensive and not a good deal is when you're working with the wrong team, and also when when you're using the wrong product or buying the wrong property.
Mhm. I often have this conversation with my friends about, because our kids are going into their 20s. And we often think, like, if they stay in Toronto, like, how are they going to buy a home because the price is so expensive? In Toronto, we're looking at the average cost of a home in 2026, and it has gone down. Like, the market has taken a bit of a hit. But still, the average cost of a single detached home is over $1 million. It's 1,000,008. And a condo, the average price is about $653,000. If we're
Mhm.
saying, the average age of marriage in Canada is 34. Okay, that's from a 2020 stat. So realistically, as single women, can we afford to until um, wait to get married until we have that first home, given those prices, and thinking about the phase of life? Like for women, we have a window, let's say if they want to have kids, right? So a lot of women think like, oh my gosh, like they're on this sort of time frame where like if I want to have babies, I need to be in the house by married by this age. I need to be in the house by this age, and because I want to be a young mom or whatever it is. Like if the average age of marriage is 34,
Mhm.
when you're 35 years old, that's basically considered a geriatric pregnancy in that point, right? That's you could run into issues. I mean, for men, let's face it, men can have babies whenever, but as women, we have a small window. So, what would you say to those young women who might think they're sort of, it just seems like too lofty of a goal?
That's a real good question. That's a real good question because the stats are not saying, you know, are telling. The stats are telling. The stats is single women already doing it. So it's like you. What can I say to single women that's already doing it and
Mhm.
already purchasing these properties before 35? Um, what can I say to those that feel like, you know what, I need to get married before I focus on a home because, of course I want to have a family and that clock is ticking. I would say this. I would be honest. Which life is more important? The life that you are married and you need the person you married to financially, and what if that person change and financially abuse you because you staying home and taking care of your children, and one day that person now don't want you or treating you badly, but you can't afford to leave anywhere because you have no assets. Do you want that life, or do you want a life where, you know what, you thought about this and you did everything possible to purchase not a single family home but a multi-family home, a home that actually deliver assets to you monthly, and then got married and then had kids, and again, if this person changed, you have an out regardless. So I think it's what life do you want? Of course I'm married, and I love being a husband. I love being a father, right? And that's very important. But I also love not needing my wife. I love wanting my wife more than I need my wife. So I think that's very important. I think you should look for the female that have those thoughts. I think you should really look at the bigger picture and the long run. It's like there's a lot of women struggling right now in marriages they cannot leave, and I don't ever want one woman to be in that predicament, and so that's why I lean on building that financial foundation first before marriage.
When you talk about financial abuse, what do you mean by that?
So you know what? I'm on your show, so we're gonna keep it 100, right? So
Yeah.
my mom experienced financial abuse, right? My father, they opened a restaurant in my mom's name. My mom was working there, but she was never receiving a paycheck. My father's like, "Look, I pay for the lights, I pay for food. Why do you need money?" And so they started hiring people, and my mom was like, "Man, everyone's getting paid but me. This is my business. Everyone gets a paycheck but me." So my mom had enough and said, "You know what?" And I'm gonna say allegedly because this is what my mom told me. So my mom said, "You know what? I'm gonna go get a job. I'm gonna get a job. I want my own money." And my father said, "Well, I'm not gonna help you with the children. I don't know how you're gonna work and deal with the children. You need to carry the children to work." That's a sign of financial abuse. It's like, all right, I can't make any money with you. I don't have any money, and I gotta follow your orders. That's financial abuse. And a lot of women, are told to go to school, get a career, and then wait for Mr. Right. Right? Wait for Mr. Right. So you wait for Mr. Right, you dump your career, become a mother, because that's the most important career in the world is motherhood. And I understand that and I respect that. But what happens now when that person that's bringing the money home, it's not the one anymore, right? It's not that person you married. That's an easy way to get financial abused. And the second most reason why people get divorced is because of finances.
I want to talk a little bit about obviously women in midlife because you're on midlife mix. So we're sort of past that phase of, our first marriages anyway. So let me ask you something. A lot of women in midlife are quietly thinking, if I've worked my whole life to build something, why does marriage suddenly put that at risk?
That's a real good question. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Prenup. Money power prenup. Money power prenup. Gotta get the prenup. You get the prenup, nothing's at risk. Nothing at all is at risk. And I know it's hard to talk about prenups. I know it's not the hot topic. Honestly, on and I'm shameless plug, but if you go to mortgagebeforemarriage.com and go to Money Power Prenup, we have scripts, we have things that you need in your prenup. We even have the email that you write your attorney stating that you want a prenup to save you a lot of money. But prenups are very important. It protects the assets, right? The premarital assets that you're coming into. You can say, hey, this is all mine. This is all mine. And also, you could protect the future, the future profits by saying, hey, when I make money off of this business, I know I'm married now, but the future profits are mine as well. So this is all in prenup, right? The good thing about prenups is not only to say, hey, what's mine is yours, but it's also it's a protection product, right? If I get sued, I don't want my wife to get sued, so prenup. If I have a gambling problem, I don't want that to affect my marriage. Prenup. So if I went to school for 10 years that debt shouldn't belong to my spouse. Prenup. So there's a lot of prenup solves a lot of issues when it comes to protection of who you were before the marriage, who you are in the marriage, and who you're going to be after the marriage if that happens.
So if I have a house and let's say I'm going into my second marriage
Yeah,
and I have a prenup and I say, this is my house and,
correct.
I'm going to let you live in
And
it.
yeah,
So, he moves in, he lives in it and, pays some bills towards it, fixes it up, does maintenance. Are you telling me then if we get divorced second time around that he will not be entitled to any of that?
as long as it's in your prenup, nope, no entitlement. Like you could put it in there. Look, you will live in here. You could act like it's yours. You could pay half, but this is all mine, no matter what. Just put it in your prenup.
What mistakes do you see women in midlife making when they enter their second marriage financially?
Or financially or mentally.
Well, let's start with financially
Okay.
and then move into mentally.
Okay. Financially, I don't know. I think the second marriage they are better off financially because they got burned on the first marriage. So a lot of studies show that the second marriage usually lasts longer than the first marriage because now you're going in there and you're like, okay, I know what I don't want. I know what I'm not going to allow to happen again. I know what predicament I won't be in again. So, the second marriage it's you're more equipped and a little bit more organized and knowing what you want. And now you're probably treating it more like a business transaction in a good way, meaning that you're going there with a prenup, you're going in there with a business plan, you're going in there with an idea of saying, hey, this is what I want my marriage to look like. So, yeah, I think I don't know if there's more of a risk in the second marriage than the first marriage. What I've noticed is they're just more prepared in the second marriage.
I feel like in our first marriages, all of our mothers told us the same things, and
So,
we probably didn't listen. And they all told us, have your own bank account,
yeah,
have your own money. Obviously, you're going to have an account together and whatnot, but like make
yeah.
sure you have something for yourself. And we all
Have
sort
your
of
own
went in
business.
blind, right? Because we were blinded by love. We were all in love. That's not going to
Mhm.
happen.
Love will rip your heart will rip you off. That's why love is overrated. Love is overrated. To all the women out there listening, love is overrated unless you love yourself first.
So loving yourself first means what? You take care of yourself financially?
Loving yourself financially, physically, mentally, social, emotionally, the whole 10. Like that, unless you love yourself first. A lot of times you want to fix problems. You want to fix someone else's problem. Oh, I'm going to fix his debt. I love him. I'm going to take on his debt. Oh, I love him. We're going to improve. Nah, you have to make sure you're mentally good. I love an overflowing cup. An overflowing cup. Like you have so much love for yourself, you have enough for other people. I like that instead of I don't have enough love for myself, so I just gonna love other people because I don't want to deal with me. I don't want that. Like, don't. That's unhealthy. Deal with your problems and figure out who you are. Love yourself. Date yourself. Go on, like explore the world. Have experience by yourself. Understand who you are, and then you can love someone else to the max.
What about women who, maybe they don't think love is overrated and they still have their sort of, head in the sky, in the clouds. And even in their second marriages, I've seen, women take on these husbands and who just drag them down financially. I can't, like, for me, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense because I feel like, as we go into second marriages, midlife and stuff, we have more of a clear picture of what marriage is. It's kind of what you're saying that it's a contract. Let's be honest, it's a contract. It's a financial contract beyond anything. And when you have these women sort of going into second marriages who maybe the second man swept them off their feet or whatever, they love them like they've never been loved before, and they ignore the fact that this guy's got $60,000 in debt. How can the marriage survive at that point? Do you think?
It depends. I mean, any marriage could survive. And when I talk about stats, I'm talking about the masses, right? As I told you before, the second most reason why people get divorced is finances, right? Is those debt, is bad money management, um, and it's a lot of times is the marriage is not progressing, right? It's a standstill, it's a comfort zone, and it can't survive that. And I always say love can't survive broke. And so, and I believe that's what you're asking me. I think it depends what kind of debt, how honest you was with that particular debt. Was it upfront before marriage? Did you tell? Or did you get married and then, oh, I got all this debt, now it's ours? It all depends how the debt was introduced and what kind of debt it is, right? So it could be 60,000. Hey, I'm paying off my house. I have $60,000 left. That ain't bad. Oh, okay, great. You have an asset. That's amazing, right? Versus credit card or or student loans, right? So I think it's very important to introduce the debt before I do. I honestly think you should introduce the debt first to third date. To be honest with you, these are the questions. A lot of questions that should be asked on the first date. I don't care about what color you love or how many siblings you have. I need to understand your mindset. I'm dating your mind right now. You know what I'm saying? I want to understand your mindset, who you are, because that's where it starts. It's all in the mindset. Then it goes down to financials, and then it goes down to how he's going to treat you, how he or her going to treat you. It's all start with mindset.
Do you think women underestimate how much they stand to lose in a divorce if they're not prepared?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Another great question. I mean, women lose. First of all, not having a prenup is $1 trillion business. I just want to throw that out there. The funds that transfer for not having a prenup is $1 trillion business. That's a T, not a billion, not a million, not a thousand. $1 trillion business. When's the last time you heard someone say, I have $1 trillion business? Well, that's in the lack of protecting yourself before falling in love, right? And women lose the most. Look at Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson's allegedly paying her ex-husband $150,000 a month. Look at Mary J. Blige. The man cheated on her, and she's paying him allegedly $30,000 a month, right? And then you look at like a Tom Brady and his wife. They got divorced in 24 hours because they was prepared. She didn't lose anything, So yes, of course, women lose the most when it comes to divorce, and so and I won't say women. Powerful women lose the most when it comes to divorce.
What's the biggest, oh, I wish I knew this before moment that you hear from your clients?
I hear the house. I think they get over that dream house first, very quick, very quick. When you realize you actually have to work for 30 years to pay off your home, that's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. When you realize you're getting a divorce and you only have this single family home, it's not a good feeling. When you realize, it could be a lot more expensive buying a second home and you wish you just did things differently with that first home, not a good feeling. That's what I hear the most. And then also, of course, I wish I got a prenup.
What happens if you don't have a prenup with the home? Let's say I own a home. I don't get a prenup. I get married again, or I get married for the first time. What happens to the home? I got to split it 50-50. I got to buy them out. What happens?
In different states, it's different rules. Usually, you're gonna have to do 50-50, especially if this person starts saying, "Oh, I fixed this. I paid this." Oh yeah, they taking you to the bank. They take it to the bank because there was no contract. There was no rules. You didn't set no rules, or the judge is going to set the rule for you.
What about if you're not married? Is moving in together the biggest mistake you can make financially?
If you're not married,
Hmm.
if you're not married, that moving in together. If you're not married, that's a real good question. That's a real good question.
Because what are the common
I
wrong?
wouldn't, as a man, I wouldn't marry. I wouldn't move in. I wouldn't move into I wouldn't move into my girlfriend's home. That's just as a man, I wouldn't. But
Why?
be, I think because of ego. If I'm being honest, I
Yeah.
still got some therapy to do, and
Hmm.
I just think, I don't know, I won't feel good. I won't feel great. And again, I'm not, this is not to put down any other man. I might have internal problems that I have to fix. And I'm saying I rather my girlfriend live with me instead of I live with her. I rather, I feel better supplying that security, the roof, the protection, instead of she doing it.
Mhm.
Right. That's just me. And I've bought my first home when I was 20. So I always had a home with in serious relationships already. And that's just what I wanted for me.
Mhm.
So, and I also think when you move in right away before marriage, one, you take away the excitement, and you also you're acting like you're married already. So I think it will prolong the ring. To be honest with you, I think it will prolong the ring.
Okay, well, let's say you have the house and you're dating somebody, and moving in together is often something that just happens gradually. You don't even talk about it. It's like, oh, you stay one night, you stay 2 nights. Oh, now you have a drawer. Now your toothbrush is here. Now your stuff is here. And before you know it, they're completely moved in. But if you don't, you're not married. So let's say you live together, let's say, 5 years. Is that a mistake financially if she leaves? Like, is she entitled to part of your home now? Because I think common law, like laws, you're considered common law after what, like 2 years or something?
I think let's if you're moving into someone's house, I think just like marriage, it has to be a plan. My wife and I did something similar, but the plan was she was buying a home before marriage. So she saved up all her money. And what did she do? She bought a multi-family home that's generating $4,000 a month profit, before marriage.
Mhm.
I think that's a phenomenal idea, and if you if you're together for 5 years, and I would believe, y'all both improving the home, y'all both putting in money to keep the house. I wouldn't believe that it's just someone just sitting there doing nothing. So that could cause a lot of confusion, conflict if y'all break up. So I think moving in for no reason, I don't think that's a great idea. And I think study shows that it prolongs the ring because it's like, yeah, you moved in, it's like you get a ring or not. Oh, we're already married. What's the difference if we get married or not? We're doing
Mhm.
everything that married couples do, and there's a huge difference. But the comfortability is already there because y'all already living together. Y'all already playing house.
Mhm.
So the comfortability is already there.
But are you going to have to split that house if she moves out? People break up?
I think it depends on the state and it depends on the judge. That's what I think. Because I have friends that they broke up, they lived together for 10 years, and the person that left didn't get anything. But I also would say I don't think that person pushed hard enough as well.
Mhm.
So I just think it all depends on the state and it depends on the person. Because when you going into any situation you don't have a prenup, it's really up to the judge to say I agree with this or agree with that. And that's why again I always say prenup because, believe it or not, if you look at the divorces, one judge could say it could be the same situation around the same asset. One judge could say, oh, 50%. Other judge could say, no, I'm giving more to the person that have the children, that's keeping the children. So it's not an equation that follows every case. It's really what that judge says. And that's why the prenup is very important because you're going to leave it in the judge's hands.
And would you say the prenup is probably the smartest way for a woman to stay independent without feeling like she's planning a divorce? Like like you said, it's an awkward conversation to have, but it's a necessary conversation to have. And we know that, there's like a whatever, it's over a 50% chance of first marriages failing. And then that rate even goes up higher with second marriages. So I would think as this going into a second marriage, you would want that in place. But then how do you navigate that so you're not basically coming across as planning for your pending second divorce?
So the conversation I would have is all around protection. It's all about protection. Is look, I have a business, and if I get sued, I don't want anyone to take advantage of this particular marriage. I don't want you to be involved in the legal battle. So I think it's very important that we get a prenup, so we can keep it separate, just in case something happened with the business. Hey, I have debt, I have student loan, and I might get more debt. And I think it's very important that we get a prenup so I can protect you from my debt. I don't think it's fair to involve you in my debt. I'm the one with the debt, so I think it's important to sign a prenup. These are. I think that's how. I think that's an easy conversation if you if you put it like that. And again, we have these scripts, but it depends how you word it, because again, it's hard to have that conversation. People are more comfortable to probably have unprotected sex to instead of talk about finances. Just like really think about like you giving someone your body, and that's more comfortable than talk about finances, right? So it's a hard conversation, uncomfortable conversation that we need to learn how to talk through, and especially on the first few dates.
Well, what if somebody, comes back and says, well, if we need a contract, maybe we shouldn't be getting married at all?
Then I think that's a sign of saying you shouldn't marry that person.
Red flag.
Yeah, like that was easy. Thank you for letting me know. Because look, we're not we're, we're not. I don't, if you get there's a it's not a lot of people saying, "Hey, I want to get married to get a divorce." Like, let's be honest,
Nobody
it's
does.
not a lot of, huh?
Nobody says that.
Yeah, it's like, so it's like, all right, when you buy a car, you get insurance. You get insurance.
Mhm.
Like if I ask someone who has a car, they're gonna raise their hand. All right, do you have insurance? They're gonna raise their hand. But if I ask someone, are you married? They're gonna raise their hand. Do you have a prenup? They not, a lot of people's not gonna put their hand up. Well, it's the same. It's insurance. Like I don't want to get a car to get in a car accident. Just like I don't want to get married to get a divorce. So why is more? I'm more comfortable getting car insurance than divorce insurance, right? So I think it's yeah, I think it's all the wording. It's how it's presenting, and prenup has it's just a bad word in so many ears, right? So, but how you present I think that's the important part, because a lot of people don't understand all that a prenup does.
Why is love is enough the most dangerous statement you could make?
Another great question. You on a roll today, huh? All right, so love is enough because it's not. Love isn't enough. It's not. It's a lie. Sometimes my wife don't like me. Sometimes I don't like her. And you know it's more than love to keep us together, right? It's communication, it's experience, it's how I treat her, it's how she treat me, it's goal settings, it's having separate lives, it's so much than just love. Oh, I love you, want to be around you all the time. I love you, I love you, I love you. Man, actions speak louder than words too, right? You have to show the love. You can't just say I love you. So love isn't enough, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Love is overrated unless you love yourself first. So it's love. Love could be a powerful, 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 powerful emotion, but it also could be a dangerous one. So it's not enough by itself.
Did you get into this sort of, you know, you wrote the book Mortgage Before Marriage because of your mom? What happened?
So I got into it because of my mom, and I had a daughter. I have a daughter, and I'm writing this book, and I can't imagine someone taking advantage of my daughter. I'm writing this book and I can't imagine my wife, if something happened to me, my wife had to get remarried because she don't have enough money to be single or choose the man she wants to be with. I'm writing this because that stat by itself, 20% of women are in bad relationships they can't afford to leave. Wow. I'm writing this because I wrote it because what society did to women. You could take care of everyone in the home, you could clean the house, take care of the home, but you couldn't own a home for a very long time until Mississippi allowed you to purchase a home, but you had to be married. And only in the 70s, women were allowed to purchase a home without a husband. And now in 2026, single women are whipping men's butt when it comes to purchasing a home. That's why I wrote the book. It just it it's just the truth. That's all. It's just the truth. I want you to stay married. Also want to give you some tips how to stay married. I want you to build that foundation. If we understand that finances lead to divorce, let's fix our finances before marriage. Before chasing Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, let's get our finances right.
Did you tell your mom that you were going to write this book before you wrote
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I actually sat with her. I sat with her for the very first time and talked about her past. I sat with her for about 3 hours. It was the best conversation we ever had. It was emotional. It was a lot of anger in that conversation because, she just told me the truth and how was treated not only by my father, but other people as well, in the family. And it got me upset and got me real mad, honestly. It got me so angry. And I always spoiled my mom. But after that conversation, I spoiled her more. I spoiled her a lot more. And that was important for me to do that. Yeah.
You've compared some marriages to prison. What do you mean by that?
I mean, a lot of people married and they roommates.
Hmm.
A lot of people married and still lonely. And I think that's prison. And a lot of people's married because they love that interest rate. They're like, wait a minute, we got a 3.5 interest rate. Shit, I hate you. I don't like you. I'll cheat on you, but we ain't moving. We're not. We locked in. Like I'll tell you that much. Finances again,
Hmm.
right? And and so that's prison. That's prison. Imagine just going home, hate going home, but you can't leave, can't afford to leave. Gotta be in this marriage. That's prison. That's not love. That's not marriage. That's prison.
What do you think we value more, emotional security or financial security?
Emotional security. That was easy.
We value that more than financial security?
I believe that. Yeah, I didn't look that stat up yet, but I'm sure. I mean, it's a no brainer. I don't have to look up the stat.
Yeah.
It's a no brainer. I mean, that broke people are married, so it's like
Yeah.
it's how you feel and how someone make you feel. That's what we yearn for, and a lot of times we think that's enough,
Hmm.
right? That's enough. Oh, this person make me feel so good, but he doesn't have a job, but he's so kind, but he
So
can't
cute.
take you anywhere. But he did something so sweet. We had a picnic on my lawn. Who cooked the food? I did. But it was the thought, right? And think about it. There's a lot of women that are the breadwinners,
Hmm.
and they are married to a man that's not they're not 50% with. But that person make them feel good and they're not lonely. And maybe that clock is past. Like they can't have kids, but they also don't want to be lonely, so they settle. There's a lot. I see it a lot. women settle in. I'm like, oh hell no, it's no way that person got that. Oh, I get it. I get it. The clock was ticking. The doors are open at this point. You know, you realize you ain't gonna get everything you want. You're like, yeah, I can look past the looks. I can look past the finances. Just make me feel good, right? Your priorities just start dropping. Just make me feel good, and we could be together. So emotionally, all day.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's true when you're younger and you go into your first
Oh,
marriages and you're both broke and don't know, don't have anything. For
correct.
sure, it's emotional security. But then, like, I hear from, friends and people in midlife who are like, if I ever get married again, it's like the old saying, you marry first for love, you marry second for money. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. I think there's a real value for financial security as you get older and you hit midlife because you realize, they say money can't buy love, but I mean,
It can support it.
I can support it. Yeah, that's good.
It could support it, but and I agree with you, and that's why earlier I said when you go into your second marriage, you have a checklist now. You know what you want, especially financially, and you know how you want to feel. You know what that other person, you know what you want that other person to bring to the table, right? But if we're talking about the masses, I'm never married, and or even relationships. It was emotional, all emotional.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
We talk about women being the breadwinners in some instances. What should women with kids, assets, or businesses be thinking about that they're not maybe thinking about going into a second marriage?
That's a good question. I hope they have a trust. I hope they have a trust, and I hope the beneficiary is their children. Everyone yells generational wealth, right? And I love generational wealth, but what we don't talk about enough is generational protection. A lot of wealth could destroy a family if they don't have the education, if they don't have the protection, and if they don't have instruction. That wealth could be gone just like that and could destroy that human being that you leave all this wealth to. So I think we definitely need to talk about trust. And we need to talk about generational protection. We need to talk to our children and let them know what they are getting, how you got it, what's the importance, what's the worth of whatever you're leaving, and also have that same conversation with that person before you get married. Make it clear, this for my children, this is what's happening, this is what's going to happen. Just communicate. I think we don't think about that enough. We don't talk about funds without children enough. And also, again, we don't talk about finances enough. It should be a second language. Without finances, you cannot survive, right? You can't live. So it needs to be, the second language, just your second language to me.
When we talk about generational protection, I want to end this podcast with your final words about, you know, how you're teaching this to your daughter. What are three major lessons you are passing on to her so she is not, doesn't find herself in one of these financial abuse situations?
So I have a daughter and a son, and what I teach both of them. So one, my wife and I started purchasing homes for our children. So right now each child has a home. So when we go to this home, they know hey, this is my home. They know what we're doing today. They know, hey, we're probably cleaning up, or one is the Airbnb. We have to refill stock. They understand that, right? And when we was buying the home, especially with my son, he was at the closing, right? He pretended to sign paper. Everything's recorded, so he could understand what happened, right? And then also, mortgage before marriage. My son reads mortgage before marriage as well. And then also I have something called Success Has No Age, where I create curriculum over real estate, just real estate, credit, just financial principles. And they love these workbooks, right? And I own a real estate brokerage, Thumbprint Realty in Massachusetts. May 3rd, we are having a workshop for only the children of the parents that work at Thumbprint Realty, where we're teaching financial literacy, real estate, everything that their parents do. I'm sitting down and actually teaching 5 to 9-year-old children about finances, right? So that's what I'm doing to make sure my child know, look, this is what needs to happen to protect you. They both know they're not buying a single family first. They know they're buying a multifamily. They know why they're buying a multifamily. So they know it. Like if you ask them, they will tell you, nope, I'm buying this first, and this is why. So I actually do more than three. I do a lot. So they can understand. But the workbooks are amazing. I create the workbooks on Claude, right? Easy to create. They sit down and they knock those workbooks out. They love it. Yeah.
And get that prenup.
Let's say and get that prenup. Money, power, prenup.
There you
Money,
go.
power, prenup. Gotta get the prenup.
Got to get the prenup.
Gotta get the prenup. Do not. It doesn't make sense if you're not getting a prenup. If you're not driving off the lot with that new car without insurance, you
Hmm.
shouldn't say I do without insurance. And make sure you get that prenup 90 days before the wedding.
Hmm. Good. Well, thank you so much, Alex. I really enjoyed this conversation. If people want to get more information about mortgage before marriage, where can they find out more?
Mortgagebeforemarriage.com. Go check out that free audit on the website. It's pretty cool. See if you are protecting yourself or not. And also on all social media platform, Alex E. Edwards. Again, Alex E. Edwards. DM me with any questions. I'd love to help you. And I hope you take my advice seriously and get that prenup.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you for your time.